Okay, we're not ready to move away from Poussin yet. So we have St. John here in the landscape. And you know it's St. John because he's got that eagle there, and he's writing about the end of times. Poussin was kind of the creator of the ideal landscape. So you can see how like everything's like perfectly portioned and planned out there, foreground, middle ground, background, everything's perfectly drawn and rendered. There's no like crazy colors going on. And then he also incorporates those pieces of antiquity back there. And interestingly, he has the Greek reference along with the Egyptian reference. We know he's not painting a real place. This is an idealized landscape. So then it's also interesting to note you have these relics from antiquity. You have him writing currently, and then but he's writing about the future. So you kind of have this large spans of time encapsulated in this painting. So just take note of Poussin's affinity for value and accuracy and line, because we're going to talk about that more in a sec. Then we have Watteau and the pilgrimage to Cythera, and that was an island in Greece and supposedly the birthplace of Aphrodite. It was the goddess of love. We have a sculpture of her over on the right, and it has flowers all over it, and you could see Cupid's bow and arrow and a little version of Cupid down there. And now the interesting thing about this painting is that we have this pilgrimage to Cythera, so we don't know if these people are coming from left to right or they're leaving from right to left, because there's that boat over there on the left hand side, and then there's a little island back there, and maybe that island is Cythera or maybe it's just there, so it has that fun kind of mystery. And then we have this line of people, and what are they doing? They're all kind of like in pairs, actually. There's men and women together, so they're all in different stages of courtship. Like the couple furthest to the right, you can see the guy is kind of leaning on her and she's being demure and not really paying attention to him, and Cupid's kind of like trying to encourage them to get together, and the next couple's like kind of dancing, and so on and so forth. The point is, this painting was made for the aristocratic audience of France, you know. It's a painting of rich people for rich people, so much so that they had to come up with a new genre of painting called fête galante that just means rich people having fun outside. So that term is kind of why this painting is a big deal in art history. When Watteau was trying to get into the Royal Academy there with this painting, it didn't really fit into any of the genres they had, so that's why they came up with the fête galante. At the French Academy, they had two schools of thought. You had the Poussinists and the Rubenists. So Poussin is the guy that they were excited about, you know, line, form is most important. How good are you at rendering the figure using value? And then the Rubenists were more excited about color and the depiction of nature and how this could appeal to anybody, whereas they thought that Poussinists were too elitist and that stuff was only for the few experts that could appreciate that level of academic drawing. So Watteau was Flemish, as was Rubens, so the Rubenists adopted this new style of painting and called it Rococo. So now we have Fragonard, who's probably the most Rococo-iest painter that ever was. He takes the stuff that Watteau did and Boucher and just dials them up to 11. You can see how fluffy those brush strokes are on the trees up there. You have that exaggerated color landscape of pink and green, and the pink is like super candy coated, and there's kind of this romantic haze around everything. And in the subject matter, this painting's called The Swing. You have this woman on the swing, and she's kicking her shoe off playfully and lifting her skirt up, and then you have that guy in the bottom left hand corner kind of like looking up her skirt and pointing, and then you have Cupid over there on the left, kind of like giving the knowing look. Then we have like a tiny little bit of social commentary here on the right. There's that little figure in the dark pulling the rope. He's said to be like a member of the clergy, and it's kind of like a commentary on the church. Like, is the church just standing by watching as all this frivolity goes on, or is the church actually condoning this kind of behavior? So for a frame of reference, this painting was done in 1766. The aristocracy was having a great time, but the peasants were in great discord. There wasn't really a middle class yet, and Marie Antoinette realized that people weren't liking her that much anymore, so she decided to commission this painting to try to win back the people. So she had the artist Elizabeth Lebrun come to Versailles to paint her, which is crazy, and then they wanted to paint her to be more relatable. There was rumors about Marie Antoinette running around on her husband and being a bad mom, so they painted her here with her kids, and that empty cradle is there because she had just lost one of her children. She wanted to appear like austere and relatable, and this painting didn't work. It was painted in 1787, and in 1792 the French monarchy was abolished, and she was convicted of high treason and beheaded 7 years later.